Transfer Request Show with me, Rob Gutmann. I've got Josh Sexton, I've got Kev Walsh. This is the show where you, the viewer, don't laugh at me. I'm not inside, you're laughing at me. I'm not. You just cough.
See, this is the paranoia of a slight hangover. This is the
paranoia of a slight hangover. Well, we're professionals. I'm a professional. We'll soldier on. You, the viewer, have given us some names of players you think Liverpool should or maybe could buy this summer. So we're going to discuss those names. They've all been polled on Twitter in order of defence, midfield, and attack. And we're going to talk about your prime choice, those who have polled the most votes. And you're each going to tell me the likelihood of this happening. Well, let's go with it. We are where we are. Defence first. We put to you, possibilities. Kieran Tierney, who's been linked to Arsenal this week, from Celtic. Ryan Bertrand, the Southampton veteran. Ben Chilwell is tearing it up at Leicester. And Koulibaly, whose first name I can't pronounce, but he's very, very good. So, Kev, those lads, who do you think would have polled first? Guess, you know.
Well, I already know because I'm looking at it. Yeah, I said the one we should have been looking at was Bertrand because we could do with a left-back choice cover, but he's not exactly the glamorous choice, is he? So obviously our main man Koulibaly's who the viewers want to speak about, and I can see why he's brilliant, isn't he? He was absolutely fantastic for Napoli at Anfield. Besides, obviously,
when he got had off by Mo,
But then again, that could happen to anybody. Not Virgil, obviously, but anybody else.
Yeah, Josh, I mean, he's in that he would cost an absolute fortune category. I think he's 27, 28, he's been linked to everybody big in Europe. I think the argument about whether Liverpool should go for a Koulibaly is similar to the one about whether they should go for a De Ligt, really. Yes, obviously, if we had the money, you'd have him because he'd strengthen the strongest team in Europe even more. But by the same token, there's an argument against because he blocks the path of Joe Gomez and others potentially.
I think he seems like one of them choices, doesn't he, for a team who are really looking to shore up that centre half, you know, that partnership or just centre of defence for the long term. And I think that's what we did by buying Virgil van Dijk. He almost feels like it would be a second Virgil van Dijk move, which is obviously a massive statement. But like you say, we've got a player in Joe Gomez who we're all confident from what we saw early on in the season that he's got a massive future and a huge part to play alongside Van Dijk in that defence as well. And I think to block that path after the progress he made would be you know, disappointing for him, I suppose, but also for us as fans to not see him get a bit more game time than he did this season and allow him to kick on. Koulibaly seems probably like the wrong choice for Liverpool, but also the right choice if you think that you want Liverpool to, you know, have all the best players in the world.
Which I do. Personally, if it was up to me, and I'd probably have Liverpool bankrupt within 5 years, so thank God it is.
What a 5 years we'd have done.
What a dream, yeah, we'd live that. And if we were Real Madrid, I think we would go for this playing group. Sod it. Joe Gomez will get his games. They'll all get their games. Some we have to rotate. Joel Matip, lovely role you played last season, but see you lads. We've got Koulibaly to buy. And between Gomez, Koulibaly and Van Dijk, there'd be enough games. There is a logic to a ballsy move, isn't there?
Oh, 100%. Listen, if he come in next year, you know, he would improve the team. There's no doubt about that. But obviously, we're much more succession planning than Real Madrid. As you say, Real Madrid will go out and just buy him. But that hasn't really, it's worked in the European Cup for them. But we want league titles now. An air league title run in the last 15 years is not very impressive. They only won 2, I think.
Really?
The 2 or 3, it's not many at all. They didn't even break 70 points this year, I don't think, in the league.
They're a bit crap, weren't they?
But they're not. They buy the players who want to win the European Cup, and that's sad. Winning the European Cup the other week was brilliant, wasn't it? But I want to win the league, and I want to win the league consistently because I want a dynasty of Liverpool, and I want to think, listen, I'd love to sign him, but if it's between him and then everyone else wanting 400 grand a week because that's what he's going to be on, and Joe Gomez coming through and getting to the level which Christmas time last year, he looked like he was going to be unbelievable. He got that injury, didn't he? I'd say I'd rather have Joe Gomez in there alongside Van Dijk, and then obviously with Keanu Hoover coming through, this new young lad we bought from Zwolle this week. These are the players you want going forward for the next 10 years. I think Koulibaly feels very much like sign for Man United, and in 3 years' time, Man United are going, oh my God, we paid £120 million for a centre-half who's on 500 grand a week, and now we can't get shut up and he won't leave.
Okay, we'll round up the Koulibaly suggestion by rating the possibility of him becoming a live Liverpool transfer link this summer. We're going to use not the Mo scale because Mo's not here. We're going to use the Kev Walsh scale. So how many Walshies out of 5 would you give Josh? 1 Walsh being unlikely, 5 Walshies being very likely.
I would say this is really quite unlikely for Liverpool. I don't think it's going to be the big move that the Liverpool need to make or will make this summer. So I'm going to go 1 Kev.
1 Kev. Kev, how many Kevs are you giving?
I'm going to give it 1 big ballsy Kev.
1 big ballsy Kev. And that Kev counts double. I'm also going to give it a 1 Kev and move swiftly on to the midfield selections. Right, the choices we put you for midfielders were Christian Eriksen of Spurs, Tanguy Ndombele of Lyon, James Maddison, but the winner, with 37% of your votes, was, Kev, Donny van der Beek. Van der means son of in Dutch. Did you know that? So he's son of Beek.
Son of Beek.
Son of Beek, which is interesting. Have you seen him play, or have you seen him play? Apart from one game in the Champions League?
I think I've seen him play a couple for Ajax in the Champions League. Yeah, he obviously wasn't the one who properly stood out. I think that was more Frankie de Jong, the lad who's got the move to Barcelona. But you know, there was a lot of lads in that Ajax team who put in good performances, and he was another one of them who looked like an exciting prospect.
Any idea of what part of the midfield he inhabits, Kev? Because I've done my bits of research and I'm none the wiser, really.
Well, I haven't looked at probably the same figures you've looked at there. Well, it is the same figures we've just done it then.
Just keep the dream alive for a minute longer.
It looks like he's been initially a deeper lying midfielder at the number 6 type of role. Now, number 6, if I was a world-class number 6, I'd be looking at Liverpool thinking, where do I fit in there? Because we've got Fabinho and Henderson.
And Wijnaldum if possible.
And Wijnaldum if he needs to go back there, yeah. So I don't see that being his position. And if you look at his goal scoring in the last couple of years, he's gone into double figures both seasons. So that would suggest he's probably been pushed forward to a more of a number 8 role. Or
yeah.
Whatever number you'd give that role, just behind the strikers in a normal team, or in ours, the front man of the 3. Listen, I think Liverpool have still got to be looking at it and thinking, we signed in all but anything Nabil Fekir last year for a position in that squad, so there's something there that 56 million quid or whatever it was earmarked for, so it wouldn't be a massive surprise to see someone like that come in. And I think that role and that may develop into being Oxlade-Chamberlain's role, it may be developing into being Naby Keita's role, but they're not necessarily the ones with the magic in the boots that you think of in that role. You think of, they're more driving midfielders. I'm not sure whether Van der Beek is that either, but I think that might be the key to turning the draws against the Man Uniteds and Evertons of this world, when you just want to sit in and not attack you, into the wins. 1 win out of them 2 games and you're in the league, whatever it is. Because you just need that little bit of magic in your boots when you're picking a pass 10 yards, but you're threading the eye of a needle with the pass, rather than it's a big 50-yard ball over the top to run, that type of thing. So a Van der Beek might well be on the cards for Liverpool, I think.
I think it's a position people are underestimating how much Liverpool are thinking about filling, Josh. I look at the Fekir position, I look at people who've been linked with like Fernandes from Sporting and Van der Beek. The position I'm beginning to think this is somewhere between an 8 and a 10. I think it's what the position Kevin De Bruyne plays so fantastically. And I think everyone's focused on Liverpool need cover for Firmino or a genuine front 3 player. I think they think there's a player here who can score goals from behind the front 3, could slot in the front 3. I think at least it's a position we're interested in.
Yeah, I think the Fekir, almost signing made us probably think that we were looking for someone who could play that number 10, but also someone who could cover a couple of the forward positions, play on the left or right wing, be able to play up front as well. And I think, Klopp always looks for that versatility. I wonder whether a player like Van der Beek sort of has that versatility in him. I know there's obviously several positions in the midfield, if you want to call them that, in terms of, I think Liverpool will probably play mostly with a 6, an 8 and a 10, like you say. He could probably fill in, a number of them positions, but can he fill in a, full-back or anything like that? Is there other parts of the pitch that he can literally play in? Because I think that's now genuinely a thing which Klopp will be looking at every time he signs a player is what other positions can they play. So he seems to me like one of them players that Liverpool probably don't need again. I'm quite surprised, to be honest, that the poll brought us to that, because I'd have thought that people might have leaned more towards an Eriksen or somebody who can play them 4 positions a bit more convincingly. But this is one that I don't see happening really again.
So how many Donnies are you giving Van der Beek? One Donny being unlikely, 5 being likely.
I'd say this is probably more likely than a Koulibaly, because Ajax are a bit the flavour of the month, aren't they? And this probably wouldn't cost us as much in terms of wages or in terms of transfer fee. I'll give this one 1.5 Kevs.
1.5 Kevs. We're going back to Kevs. No Donnies this time.
I'm going to give it 2 Donnies.
2 Donnies. Why not? 2 Donnies. What the hell? Should we talk about forward now? The forward options we put to you were Wilf Zaha, Paulo Dybala, David Neres, again an Ajax player, and another Ajax player, Hakim Ziyech. And Ziyech came top of the pops with 40% of your votes. Kev, Hakim Ziyech is one, I have to say, in certain places been tentatively linked with. Feels the livest of all of these before we even go to the Kev ratings. What do you make of him?
Yeah, I think this is the one, the area again. You can sort of, I've said that about Van der Beek there, that was looking to replace the Coutinho role of a further forward midfielder. Ziyech feels more like an attacker, but maybe someone who could drop into that role or be a 4th attacker when you're playing a team who you're not really worried about them breaking against you. He's got a £25 million release clause, hasn't he, which is buttons in today's market, and I think he's probably worth twice that, maybe even more, on his current form. The only issue with that may be then, obviously, he's probably going to say, well, I'm worth 50 million, you're getting me for 25. We'll split the difference in the wages and I want the extra 12.5 million in my pay packet.
Yeah.
I think Liverpool are very... I don't think they're wary of paying the money. I think if someone's worth it, I think they will pay it. But I think they're very wary about giving it to someone who's coming in. I think they'd rather give it to a Mo Salah, a Bobby Firmino, a Van Dijk. Someone who's earned the space by being there and starts off on one pay packet and moved up to that. So they can then say to other players, like Ziyech probably, come in. You might be able to earn more somewhere else, but in 12 months' time, if you do what you're telling me you're going to do, you'll be on as much as them, which is what you want now anyway, and you'll have had the additional exposure. So Ziyech, I think he's an exciting player, isn't he? There's a lovely clip of him I've seen on Twitter where he just takes the ball down and he sprays like a 60-yard ball. He's got such a natural swing of the leg on it. He's like a lovely balanced footballer, and he's great going forward as well. I'd be really into it if we got him.
There's a lot of these lads coming through from that Ajax team. It reminds me of the Monaco breakthrough season where suddenly every single Monaco player was a potential transfer target. But it then became hard to tell which were genuinely the very good ones and which were just playing for Monaco and in a good place at the right time. Where do you think Ziyech rates alongside this list of names like Van der Beek, Neres, De Ligt? Who else is getting linked? So every single one of them seems to be getting there. De Jong's another one. Where do you think, in terms of the stars of that team, from what you saw, is he the very best of them? Where would you have placed him?
I think he's one of the sort of older ones, isn't he? And one of my issues with a few of these Ajax players is maybe they need another move before you can truly say that they can play for a team like Liverpool. And I know you probably can't put much distance between Ajax and Liverpool, because obviously Ajax were Champions League semi-finalists, Liverpool Champions League finalists, but it does feel like as a club we are a few steps ahead of Ajax at the moment in terms of how rude health we're in for the future as much as the now, in terms of how much this squad's going to be taken apart. You don't see it getting taken apart in the same way that you do with Ajax. And Ziyech, I think, is one of them players who is probably slightly ahead of the others in terms of his development. He's someone who's played in other teams whereas some of the others hadn't, so you know that he's got that in him to be able to play in different systems. He's similar to Kev, really. He's one of the ones that when I've seen him linked over the summer, I've been really excited about that link, to be honest, because the 25 million seems like a no-brainer for a player who's had the season. He's had the numbers that he's put in. I know Tadic's was slightly better, and obviously that could be down to the system, given the Tadic that we've seen at Southampton. But Ziyech had really good numbers for the season, and he's one of them players who you could really see fitting into this Liverpool system. I mentioned on the Van der Beek one that he can play in different positions. Ziyech is one you can see playing the 10. He's one you could see playing off the left or right, or even as a sort of false 9 striker. So he would be one that I'd be very excited to see happen if it was to happen.
Should we rate this one then, Kev?
Yeah, go on. I'm going to go 4 Kevs just because I really want it to happen.
Works for me.
I'm going to match Kev on 4 Kevs, I think.
I'm going to see both your 4 Kevs and go 5 Kevs.
Yes, so it's guaranteed it's going to happen.
Well, that has been the Transfer Request Show. Thank you to Josh, thank you to Kev. Happy Ziyech.